is Marissa Madrano, and I'm going to talk to you today about consumer informatics. This is what we're going to go over. We're going to go over what is consumer informatics, why do we care about consumer informatics, the diagnosis applications, electronic health records, which is also known as EHR throughout the slides, the barriers for these applications, transforming the applications, and how fast consumer informatics is growing. This one's going to be consumer informatics. Consumer informatics is the future of medical interacting. This is how you are going to interact with your physician and how you can take notice of your medical records and help them be more accurate. The consumer health informatics, which is also known as CHI, is different things about it is remote monitoring, the PHR, which is personal health records, decision support, online health communities, and these are just a few that I have listed. We will review these more in detail later on in the slides. We're going to talk about why do we care about consumer informatics. Before having to do research on consumer informatics, I honestly did not know what it was, why we cared about it, why we needed it. But after doing it, I've learned that we use consumer informatics a lot, and I never knew how much I used them. I use a lot of these apps every day to help diagnose myself. Whenever you have a cold, you don't really want to go to the doctor, so you turn on WebMD, and you go on, but you put your symptoms in, and it gives you a couple of diagnoses. You try to diagnose yourself instead of going to the doctor. I think we're all guilty. Here, this graph is depicting how many people are using their mobile devices. If you see, green is for your smartphone and blue is for your tablet. So it's not only smartphones that we're using, we're also using tablets because technology is literally everywhere. We, as a consumer, expect to have a voice in determining our services. We want 24-hour availability of health information, like scheduling your appointment. You don't want to have to call in the morning, so you just want to be able to get on. If you need to at night, hurry up, schedule an appointment for the next day if possible. You can email your physicians, look up benefits, and learn about your condition. If you have a certain medical condition and you want to learn more information, want to see if there's new medications out for it, you can use some of these apps. Next, we're going to look at a few of these applications and perform some of these actions. Here we have WebMD, Medscape, Symptomate, Symptom Checker, and iTriage Health. I got these diagnosis applications from just Google. And then on the next few slides, we will be going over each one of these individually. We'll also show you what the app looks like so you'll have a reference picture. Here we're going to talk about WebMD. WebMD is the one like I told you about that most people use. It determines the diagnosis of your symptoms and gives you multiple diagnoses, and you can click on each diagnosis and learn more about that diagnosis. Like say if it tells you have a common cold, you can go in and click on common cold. It'll also tell you how ways of getting rid of the common cold, what medications you can take, health remedies that you can do, or it could tell you that you have the flu, and it also lists different things that you can do about it. That application has been downloaded at least 5 million times, and it has a 4.2 star rating. Also, it doesn't only do your symptom checkers. As you can look in here, it does drug and treatments, first aid information. It can help you find your local health listings. And there also is a pill identifier, which also helps if you move some pills over into like a little container to take on vacation, you forget which is which. You can log onto your app and look it up. Make sure you're taking the right medication. Next, we're going to look at Medscape. Medscape looks kind of familiar, kind of like WebMD, just a little bit different. It's like a chat service for physicians, doctors, nurses, medical students, and other physicians. This is more for them to relay information back and forth to each other about like different patients who have symptoms like such and such that other physicians have seen to help diagnose them faster. It's been downloaded about 5 million times also and has a 4.4 star rating. But on this one, it's not only for physicians. This is just mostly what it's used for. But here you can do conditions, you can see interactions with drugs, and you can have a directory so that you can find different people if you need to call someone. Here we're going to talk about iTriage Health and Symptom System Checker. For iTriage Health, it directs potential causes of symptoms appropriate that are appropriate with your symptoms. It is reviewed by the Harvard Medical School, and it can tell you how closest the closest ER where it's at, the wait time is at ER, and it gives you more education information, and it can give you procedures that could be done and doctors. So this is an app I was not familiar with until I started looking at these applications. I, for one, just downloaded it. I'm getting to know it. I kind of do like it, for the factor of the ER. Sometimes you have no choice but to go to the ER, but you don't want to go to an ER and sit there for 4 hours, 5 hours. So I will, hopefully not anytime soon, be trying this app out. But it's been downloaded 5 million times and has a 4.5 star rating. Here we're going to go over Symptom Checker. It has the potential to diagnose of your symptoms based on the questions you're asking. So it's like almost like WebMD and the others that we've talked about. It's going to ask you a series of questions of where it hurts, how long has this been happening, and then it tries to give you different diagnoses. This one's only been downloaded about 1,000 times, and it has a star rating of 4.3. But I like to remind everyone, please do not rely on these applications. If you're in an emergency, please go to the ER. Please call 911. These are not meant to steer you away from those. Because emergency situation, you really need to be seen. Next, we're going to talk about the electronic health records. These are a few that I found also on Google. These are more for your medical information on a file for your doctors to pull up to help go through your medical history and find out what's all been going on with you, so they're not trying to, if you've been diagnosed with something, they're not trying to re-diagnose you. They can elaborate on it, change your medication if need be from past doctors. So this helps your doctors try to treat you further, not start from the beginning, which could save you lots of money and lots of time. And we're going to go over them individually on the next few slides. First, we're going to talk about Athena Health. Here I brought up a picture of this is what your provider might see, or this is what you might see. I cannot log on to it, so I just got a picture of someone else's page. So that is what it possibly looks like. It's possible for doctors to delegate 1/3 of their documentation to staff so that they have more time to focus on patients. That's what this EHR, electronic health record system, does for the clinics and other hospital situations. So this is more for them to help, like you see here, no show rate. They have a program, they have a system in this program that helps call out the patients. It calls the number of the patient and reminds them, hey, you have a doctor's appointment this day at this time, just like a reminder. So this is more for the doctors to have a better flow in their clinics. It also helps suggest a diagnosis for the doctor to help give you, to help speed up the process, and so that he can give you more accurate information, give you better health care. And that's just a few things that I'm naming off on this system. It does a lot more, and it's supposed to really help physicians and doctors. And this information was pulled from the Athena Health website. Next, we're talking about the Cario EHR, which is the Cario Electronic Health Record. Here, like I said, again, is another picture or graph of what it should look like. The patients read statements, they can pay bills, they can review information on their chart to make sure it is accurate, because if information is not accurate on their chart, they can inform their doctor, and their doctor can go in and fix it, because they see hundreds of people, so sometimes they don't have a chance to make sure your record is completely accurate at all times. And I got that information from more from Caro. Here we're going to talk about Meditech EMR. Again, here's another picture of an example of what it looks like. The doctors can review your records anywhere, and they can order prescriptions, update your charts, and you can go onto the website yourself and make sure, again, that your medical records are correct and be able to chat with your physician. These systems that I talked about for electronic health records are primarily for the physician. Yes, there's a few things that as a consumer, as a patient, you can go in and look at and review. But most of the time, most of these systems though are for the physician to help spend more time with the patient to give you better care, better service. Oh, we do have a few more. We have next generation ambulatory EHR. This is a more efficient system. It will help increase the revenue, accelerate the payment options, and the doctor will have more time with the patient. And then here we have Praxis EMR. This is it uses an artificial intelligence called concept processing that learns from you. I think this is a very cool concept. The more you use this system, the more it becomes just like you, so that you don't have to conform to the system conforms to you, which means you don't have to change all your practicing ways. You can continue to go your way, but it will conform to your actions, which will actually save a lot of money for a lot of clinics and hospitals, because we're not having to teach everybody a whole new system. You can continue to go the way you're going. You might want to tweak some stuff here and there so that we're all on the same page and it's all done accurately by HIPAA laws, but I think this is really interesting. And these were just a few tools that providers can choose from to help spend more time with the patients. Next, we're going to talk about the barriers that come with some of these things that we use. And we're going to talk about the diagnosis applications. Most of these diagnosis applications have barriers mostly due to the HIPAA laws or consumers not being knowledgeable about technology or the motivation to even do anything. Technology is growing more and more. Luckily, our future generation is learning about a lot of technology and how to work with technology in school. So our future generations are going to know how to run these, and hopefully that will make us lose a lot of these barriers. A lot of these barriers repeat themselves throughout the diagnosis application, so I just picked the ones that repeat themselves the most, the ones that are more relevant. We have legal barriers, security, privacy concerns, lack of physician support and knowledge in the applications, user-friendly, understanding technology, the lack of search precision, extensive health information, and the lack of patient motivation. Here we have electronic health records. The barriers came from the article Barriers to Adaptation of Consumer Health Informatics Applications for Health Self-Management. Here they are is privacy, access to computer, PHR's personal health record. And then you have physical cognitive disabilities, low computer health and terminology literacy, and ensuring accurate data, the usability and familiarity and comfort. Also, there are 4 types of these EHRs. They're standalone health plan patient portal, EMR patient portal, and consumer-centric PHR. And the reason why I brought those up is because these are the ones that, these are different types of them. So when you go into the different types, these are the ones that you're going to see that where I picked all the barriers from if you go to the website. And most of these, like I said, most of these repeated, so I've just picked out the ones that are the most common. Next, we're going to talk about transforming the applications. So this is a little difficult. There's going to be a lot that goes into this. It's going to take a long time for this to, be up and running, but I think this will be great. We're going to talk about patient work activity. I didn't think this was a real thing until I read this article. It was very interesting. So if you want to know more about this, I definitely recommend reading this. It's a complicated process, and the apps need to support work as imagined rather than work as performed. So we all have different capabilities, we all have different ways of doing things, and not everyone's body is the same. We can't all lift 100 pounds the first day of work. Some of us have to work our way up to it. Like, it's just different small things. Here we have illness work, everyday life work, biographic work, which is cognitive, physical, and social behavioral. The visible is acknowledged and recognized and or valued. Invisible, taken for granted and or valued less. These are just different patient work activities kind of that, go to each person, that tailor to each person. So that's very important. So we were just discussing the patient work activity. Now we're going to discuss the patient work system. It's going to talk about the person's demographics, the health status, and the capabilities. Then we have the tasks, the actions, persons engaged, level include difficulty, complexity, timing, familiarity, and variety. The tools and technologies, the artifacts used to perform, usability, portability, accessibility, size, and security. These are just different things, like I said, you have to take into account for every single person. Not everybody was made the same. We're all made differently, so not everyone can perform the same job to the ability of someone else. So we're going to continue on the next slide because there's more. Here you have the physical environment, the temperature, the lighting, the clutter on the floor plan, the safety, the neighborhood, and electrical and technological infrastructures. We have the social, the organizational environment, family dynamics, community organizations, and cultural traditions. So sometimes these can get in the way of how you perform your work because some things, like culture, I like to bring up culture because a lot of people don't like to work on Sundays because of their religious beliefs. Well, in some organizations you have to. Well, that's against the law. So some of these things, we have to take in consideration when hiring other people or doing work. And like I said, this helps physicians by determining how many days they're getting off. So let's say they're not getting a single day off but that Sunday. Well, at least you're getting one day off. I mean, if you worked 7 days a week, month after month after month, you're going to wear on your body. So these applications, we're going to try to transfer them to fit these dynamics, these demographics of each person, so to help the physicians see the health concerns of their patients. It's going to take